Good afternoon. This is Consuela, occupational therapist, caregiver coach, and this is the Finding a Foothold Thursday IG Live, and I want to welcome all of you all who are going to join in today. So on today's segment of Thursday IG Live, I want to discuss the notion that there are many people who are caregivers who do truly feel that they're in this journey by themselves. They don't feel like they have the support, that they're shouldering the load of caring for their loved one without anybody there to support them or to encourage them or to lend a hand while they are providing the day-to-day care that is needed for their loved ones. So I want to invite those of you all who have suggestions and maybe any comments you want to add to please join in and share your thoughts as I go through a list of things that I want to just share and encourage caregivers as they are tuning into today's IG Live. So thanks for tuning in. So what I want to do is just give some food for thought to caregivers who feel like they're alone. That we always hear this this statement. We see it in print and we hear it often, that people will say you're not alone. And I have heard people say, yeah, they say that, but they don't know my situation. I'm here by myself and I'm the one taking care of mom. I'm the one taking care of dad, and it is all on me, and there's no one here to help me. So while that may be true in the physical sense, I want to question that, can that change? And even if it can't change in the sense of someone entering into your space and they are physically present with you, that you don't mistake that for being that you are alone. Because there are options. There are other things in today's society that connect you to things and help you to support you by providing services and technology to assist you in lightening the load of caring for your loved one. I mean, I often get this picture, and I even see it, and I'll just say I've even felt it, of a caregiver that may even seem to feel like they are tethered or balled and chained to the bed of the one that they're caring for, or they're on this short tether and they don't have a life outside of caring for that one because no one's coming in the house, no one's showing up, no one's jumping in the trenches and helping them. So you can feel like you are alone and you have to do this all by yourself. And it is really not true when you can open yourself up to looking at other ways of getting support in when a person doesn't show up. But I want to get you to thinking about how to invite other people into your space first. So first of all, I just want to, for those of you all who are caregivers and are right now just feeling overwhelmed and you are tired of that statement, you're not alone, because you're looking around and you don't see anybody with you, that I do know that feeling, and I have felt that even when I've had a husband right in the same house that was always there for me. I didn't feel it because I felt like I was in that struggle of caring for my mom on my own. So sometimes it first starts with an inward perspective. That inward thing that you first have to let your guard down and let yourself be vulnerable to saying, I can't do this. And sometimes, I know for me, in the beginning, I felt that since I invited my mom into our home, that I had to do it. I had to make this work, and it was up to me to do everything to care for my mom. And I tried, and it did not go well. I had these walls built up that I didn't want the impression that I signed up for something that I couldn't handle. When in fact, I did sign up for something that I had no clue what it was going to entail. I actually did sign up for something and I was not equipped for the job. Even as a therapist and knowing how to do the hands-on physical work of it, it was more than I ever imagined. And emotionally, I was not prepared for the job. So the first thing in letting go of that feeling that you're in this by yourself is just to let your guard down. Being able to say, I cannot do it. And to say, acknowledge the struggles. Even just starting with yourself. And it is okay. You're not a failure. I mean, that's the first step into rebuilding that foundation that you want to establish as a caregiver. Is just saying, I can't not do this. And another point of it is just the shame of people knowing the situation. Like you want to protect what's going on. You don't want to you really want to protect your loved one. You really don't want their siblings or church community or other people to really know how debilitated that person has become. So you put up this wall and you're trying to keep everything held together. So you're not even allowing that support to come in. And that just snowballs that feeling in your head that eventually comes down the road where you falsely think, I've been in this all by myself and I'm all alone. When in fact, the things that we do, even in the onset of caring for our loved ones, it can dictate how the help is allowed into the space, invited into the space, welcomed into the space, all by that inward thing that we portray and those walls that we put up in the beginning. So even if you are not a new caregiver, but you've been in this journey before, and if you can identify some of those behaviors in yourself, just being honest and saying, that's sort of me, and maybe nobody's coming around to help because I'm not really being truthful about the amount of help I need, and I'm not reaching out. I'm feel like I have to prove that I can do all of this myself. So if that is you, find some strength, find someone, find a way of getting past that. That is the first step. Now, if that is not you and you've been wanting help and just ain't nobody showing up, we're going to talk about that now. That even leading into that is to really right now, if you're that caregiver and you can count the days, the months, and maybe it's even dragging into years that you feel like you have just been caregiving and nothing else, and you are definitely saying, I am alone in this. Let's see if we can open up some ways for you to start thinking about how to get other people into this. The first part I want to say is if you've already been asking and sister's been saying no, brother's been saying no, uncles, aunts, all of those people have said no, then move on. If you hadn't convinced anybody by now to come in and help, they're not coming. And that's sad, and we don't like to think that there is somebody in my family that was raised at the same table that I was, that ate the same food that mom prepared or dad prepared, who benefited from the sacrifices that your parents made, and they're not showing up to help out. You would think that wouldn't be in a society, in a family, but it does. It happens. It happens in all families, or I'll say majority of families. So if that is you and you are like waiting for somebody to change their mind and say, well, I'm going to go start helping mom, and they haven't done it yet, just don't hold your breath too long. It may not happen. But what I want to go and look, and when I say that, I want to say that because everybody approaches caregiving. Look, well, I guess I better say this first. Just as some people are just selfish. They're never going to help. But then you have some siblings or some family members that are just afraid. They are afraid. They don't know what to do. They are afraid that they may get in too far and overcommit. Or they just may have something inside of them that just doesn't allow them to see that person in that light. that it really hurts them, and their way of dealing with mom may have dementia, or mom had a stroke and she's got some paralysis is their way of dealing with it is just don't deal with it. I can't go there in my mind. I got to stay in a happy place, so I'm not even going to go around mom. That is unfortunate. But if that is that person, and just process what I just said and see if you can just explore that with that one person who doesn't show up. Maybe they can't deal with it directly for those same reasons, those reasons I just said, but maybe they're able to do something. So if you're feeling you're alone and dad or brother or sister are not helping, step back and look at what is it that you're expecting them to do, and you are so angry because they are not doing that. And really look at the option of maybe they just don't have the temperament. That is their way of protecting themselves, although I don't understand it, but people put guards up in their life as ways of dealing with different things. And maybe that hands-on doing it directly from mom or dad is just not the approach you need to continue because they're not coming around. But maybe if you can give them little tasks that will help to support you in another way, may be an option. So when looking at people who you have earmarked as, I want them to help, but they push back. Some of them just let them run, just let them go away. But on those who are just there, but just sort of on the surface, but really hadn't entered into the space to actually get in there and help you, but you know they care. I want you to explore what are the areas, making a list of where are the areas you need help. Where are the areas that in your mind you keep going back to, nobody is helping me with this. Maybe looking at what parts of this can be assigned to other people, to that person that's on the perimeter looking in, but they're scared to jump in because they really just don't know what to do or how to do it, or they've got little hang-ups in their mind because look, we all have hang-ups. We want to help, but we just don't want to overcommit, but I do want to help, but they're not there yet. I want you to just start small with them. Give them little bitty things to do. It could be just having them call mom. Say, look, can you call mom every Monday? You know mom loves that person and mom is just dying to hear from them. Don't be the person say, oh, I'm not going to let her talk to him because he never comes around to help. That may not be the approach. It may be, number one, your mom wants to hear from them. Number two, maybe making that connection for where that person is where you need to start. And allowing them to just enter in, although all they're doing right now is calling. Start there and just nurture that and see where it heads. See if you can then say, look, can you just stop by for 5 minutes and say hi to mom? And you know she likes this thing. She likes Little Debbie cakes, or mom likes this flower. Or you know mom always planted sunflowers in a little pot or whatever. And just getting them to come over, or when they come over on a birthday, just use that as an opportunity to say, look, can you come by once a month? Can you come by every other week? And just draw them by just being accepting of what they can do and what they can bring to you at the moment. Then move on and just see what happens with that. And now the next thing I want you to tap into is organizations. Churches, just sort of keying in on those people they had good contacts with. And if you are saying, well, I don't want them to see mom in this light, believe me, they got issues too. They got things going on into their house. Everything is not rosy over in their camp either. And just letting your guard down and inviting people in that can just be there for you, even if they just can come 30 minutes, and you can just extend your reach to go somewhere else for 30 minutes. All of that helps. And all of that just brings a little change, a little excitement into your caregiving story, into your caregiving day. It just breaks things up. And the next thing I want to throw out is just organizations. Organizations related to whatever is going on. If mom or dad have Parkinson's, if they've had a stroke, if they have Alzheimer's, if they just whatever, kidney failure, all of these chronic things that just results in a long caregiving process before a recovery can occur, or recovery is not recurring. It's just it's just going downhill. When you have the support of those networks, by being involved, signing up for the email list of those disorders .orgs out there, whether it is hypertension, strokes, Parkinson's, any of those, MS, join in to those organizations where you can get literature from them, be involved in their support groups, just something so you can stay connected and learn a little bit more about what is going on. And oftentimes in those organizations, they sporadically will receive grants from philanthropists who will donate money to these types of organizations that may suddenly make funds available that could be filtered down to the different people who are attached to that organization in a way of providing some type of relief for them, whether it being them paying for respite for 2 days, paying for supplies, paying for a caregiver to come in a couple of hours a week. All of those things do occur because when people who have means pass away and they have endowments or they have things that are monies that they can put aside to organizations, they often do, just because of the impact or the involvement or the connection they had because their loved one also had those same issues. And when you are part of those organizations, you are privy to having the benefits of knowing firsthand when those funds become available that you can use to help support you in the caring of your loved one. Last thing I want to touch on is technology and equipment. Technology these days go a long way. I remember starting out doing home health 20 years ago when people put keys under the door pad, and it was just so hard to get into homes of people who were not able to be as mobile as they were. And often ended with the same regard, having to call people at work and say, hey, I'm the therapist, I'm at the door, I'm opening the door. And look, that's after the cell phones. We could do that. That was a plus. But we could tell them, like, we would already arrange in advance that, look, it's Thursday, I'll be at your mom's at 1:00. And then you're getting there, and then you're getting in the house and you're calling on their phone at that time and like, look, I'm in, and I work with your mom, and being able to give them updates and things like that. Well, these days, and I'm saying all of that because these days now technology allows for so much that even you as a caregiver who has to want to separate yourself from that space sometimes, and it's safely to do that because you can do remote monitoring of a person, I want to invite you to do that. Because these days, we have people who are home by themselves. So as a home health therapist and I still service patients. I have some on my caseload for tomorrow that I'll be seeing. And I think there's one on there where even with the keypad, one home, I have the little numbers that I punch in and I can just go in. Mom is there. She has her cell phone and she can do things, but she would never make it to the front door without falling. She can function in her own little environment. But if it wasn't for things like this, Daughter wouldn't be able to work. Daughter wouldn't be able to go to the store. Daughter wouldn't be able to do things that gave her freedom. She could go out with her friends. She could do things because in the event of an emergency, mom could, number one, she had a call alert button, and daughter had the little app on her phone. Even if you didn't know the code to get in, she can remotely let someone into the house. There were cameras in the house where she can talk back and forth to mom. And those are things you can use at certain stages of your loved one's illness that allows you to have freedom. So where you're thinking, oh, I am so alone and I am tied to this house, then maybe you're not. Maybe you need to start looking at technology that will allow you to safely put things in place so that you can separate from the physical space, even for short periods. And to be able to just through the phone, through the apps, being able to keep up with what's going on in that setting. And I know as things progress in an illness and there are certain situations where that is not safe, then hopefully there are support people who can come in and assist you with that in the way of having home health, palliative care, hospice care, those agencies that come into the home and they do assist with the care. Bottom line is you are not alone. Even in the physical space of being there and nobody is there with you, it always is that place in your heart of not letting the fact that you are limited in being able to separate from that define who you are. You can structure your day, find the way of doing things. And when I say things like this, I can speak more from the clients who have physical disabilities. This is much harder when you are faced with somebody who has cognitive deficits and you're not able to control their behaviors. And it requires you to have more one-on-one interactions or redirecting and putting out fires. That's a whole, and I've lived that life too. That is much harder, but it can also be done as well through alerts and monitoring. Oh, I had sensors on the bed, mat on the floor, ding dong things when she opened and closed doors, I had the whole 9 yards to just give me some peace so that I can separate from her because of the behavior things. But when you're talking about someone who's just limited in mobility and you're doing it all the lifting and the pulling and there's nobody there doing it but you have to set limits. As a caregiver, you are alone. There is nobody in there with you doing it. Then you need to set limits. Unfortunately, when someone loses mobility, most caregivers think they have to compensate for everything that person is no longer able to do. And that's not true. When it came to the point where I could only turn my mom in bed so many times a day, pain happens. And when you're wearing yourself out because you're trying to alleviate and do everything for someone and not allowing time for yourself and your mind to just have peace in knowing you've done your best and they're going to still have issues, that you're not going to relieve every discomfort, you're not going to meet every need, and that there are just going to be many times when you've done all you can. And you've got to just walk away from that situation and say, I can't do anymore. And be okay with that. That there's no guilt when you don't continuously show up 1 minute after another because someone needs you and you can't fix that problem for them. Then it is time for you to step back and say, I can't do anymore. And if that is a repeated thing and it is so heavily weighing on you that that person needs so much of you and you cannot do it, then exploring the option of bringing other people in or find another place for which the care can be provided And that is a hard decision. And I will say that because I had to make it. Because one day I had to make the choice or the decision that my mom needed long-term care placement. That as much as I tried, I couldn't do everything. I couldn't alleviate every pain. I could not get up 10 times a night. I couldn't do it. So when you say you're alone, yes, it does occur. But I had to come to a decision for my life and for my family that I couldn't remain alone. I had to find a place where my mom could get more help. And it was in the long-term care facility. So those are unfortunate choices as caregivers that we have to make sometime. But just know you are never alone. Reach out to friends. Talk to somebody you trust. Get rid of the people who wants to tell you everything that you already know that's wrong. You want to connect with people that want to encourage you and saying, look, you've done all you can, so put it aside. Let's do something else. There's people in your life that do care about you and do want to see you have a life and be a caregiver at the same time. Connect with those people. Disconnect with the people who want to complain all the time, who want you to remember all the good, the bad, and the ugly about caregiving, because there is a lot of good, bad, and ugly. But we don't need to be reminded of that. We want to be reminded of those feelings of self-fulfillment that we've done all we can. That we haven't done it all, we didn't get it all right, but I'm taking care of my mom. Yes, she still has issues and she complains sometime and I have to tell her no a lot of times and I have to set limits with mom. But guess what? I know I'm supposed to do this and I'm content with that. And I'm content that brother doesn't want to come over. I'm not content with it, but I'm moving on from brother. I'm moving on from sister. If you can connect with people who want to encourage you, who want to help put you back to reality, and my husband was great for that. He would say, that's not you. Don't think like that. Just move on. Don't pay attention. He had to really shake me sometimes and say, no, you need a break. Just get away. Just separate from your mom and calm down. It's not going to be that serious. And sometimes you need some people that just tell you that, look, you just need to separate. She's not going to die. If she cries, she cries. If she cries, if she screams, if she throws something, if she even calls you by a name, it's going to be okay. And we're going to just regroup after you just separate and just do something for yourself. So if you have those people in your life that can just pull you by the shirt tail and say, look, take a break. Those are the people you want to hang around. And those people are out there. So I want you to reach out to them. And if you are a caregiver and you need support or you just want to bounce off some ideas with me, you can schedule a free consult. I do have a podcast. If you have a question like, how would you handle this situation, or what could I do to make this easier when I'm taking care of mom or taking care of dad, that's what the podcast is for. You go to the website and I have a button, a call-in button where you can get the phone number and you call. You tell me the question. I'll answer it in this same format on the podcast or even on the IG Live, just really giving the specifics of, oh, hey, I had a caller who called in to say she has a problem with dad at night. What are some things that she could do to make this safer? And those are the things I answer on the podcast. So if you want to listen to I got 30-something past episodes of the podcast of people who have problems probably that you're having. And if you want to tune into some of those and listen to what suggestions I had for them, I invite you to tune into those. I have a blog. In a minute, I'm going to Clubhouse. So look, reach out. If you think you're alone, I'm going to tell you right now, you're not alone. Consuela's here. And there's some things that I've set up what I do to make myself available to those who just need free information, things I can't give you specific and personalized things, but I can give you specifics and generalities that may help in your situation that you can factor into your life and your caregiving story. But then also as a private one-on-one coach, I do have those services where we start from beginning to really identifying why are you even caregiving? Is this for you to do? or is this something someone else wants you to do? And then just sort of starting it there. And like, if this is for you to do and you're all on board, let's see how to do it. If you're going to do it, you may as well do it well and be happy as many days as you can. If you know from the beginning you didn't want to caregive, and the person that you're caregiving for is, you don't feel like you were called to do that. That you can better love them and serve them, separated a little bit, but still being a support. There's a way to get to that too. And we can talk about that in one of those free consults. But look, you are not alone. Reach out to friends, reach out to people on Instagram, reach out to positive people, because you are not alone. Caregivers are here for you. So you take care and have a good day. And I'll see you again on Tuesday of next week. And I have links in my bio to all kinds of stuff if you want to take a look at that. Have a good day, and I appreciate you all joining in today. Bye-bye.